The Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol talks about working for Vince McMahon Sr. in the WWWF. The full episode is episode 6, School of Morton podcast, free download at rickymortononline.com. Your time in the WWWF with Vince Sr. How did that conversation go? How did you get there? And how did it feel working for him?
Okay, I was in Australia and working with Jim Barnett. It was the promoter and owner. Jim sold the territory to Eddie Graham and Buddy Fuller. He asked me as a favor to please come back. We're going to take a break at Christmas break. Please come back to help them with the transition. So, I mean, I knew it was going to be a disaster. I mean, I knew it because Australia at the time, you had Mark Lewin, King Curtis Iakea, Gary Hart, Tiger Jeet Singh, Brute Bernard, oh my God, Bulldog Brower. I mean, Spiros Arion. You had all these really stars. I mean, these guys were the elite stars, some of the elite stars in the wrestling business. And so anyway, I said, okay. And because I knew they're bringing in a new crew, and this crew is not going to be able to follow the crew that some of the guys I just mentioned. So I came back. First week, everything had been kind of set up for, to come back. And first week, everything, we went around and everything was sold out. The second week, the houses dropped in half. And I knew the handwriting was on the wall. So after the second week, I gave my notice. I gave a 2-week notice, and I gave a 2-week notice. I knew this was going to be a disaster. I'm getting out of here. I called Jim Barnett, and I said, because Jim had given me his number, so you call me if you ever need to. So I called him, and I told him, I said, look, Jim, I hate to really, leave so quickly over here. I said, but, it's bad. I said, the houses have just dropped, dramatically. So I just want to let you know I'm giving my notice. And he said, well, where are you going to go? I said, I have no idea. Where do you want to go? And immediately I said, New York. He said, I'll call Vince. He said, call me back in 5 days. I'll be at the Surfrider Hotel in Honolulu. 5 days later, 5 days later, I call the Surfrider Hotel and ask to speak to Mr. Barnett, James E. Barnett. He picks up the phone and he says, you're booked with Vince. You start TVs there in, I think he said March. I left. I went back to Tampa. Went up back then. I think you would go in and you would do TVs and you'd go home and you go away and then you come back 3 weeks later and you do another round of TVs. And Vince, Jim got me booked in there, and Vince and I, we really hit it off real well. In the beginning I was there. I was just kind of, I was underneath. But one day I was in Philadelphia. We were doing TV in Philadelphia. And Lou Albano, the captain, the guiding light, came over and said, hey, the old man wants to see you. And Vince, that's what I thought. Vince, something's wrong here. So Vince was way over on the side. It was cold outside. He's got the overcoat on. He looks like he's right off the cover of GQ. Everything's perfect. The silver hair. It's perfect, So I go to him and said, yes, Mr. McMahon. I said, Lou said, do you want to talk to me? He said, yes, I do. He said, I'm going to start making you some money. From here on out, I'm going to put Lou Albano as your manager. Lou's going to be your manager. I'm going to start making you some money. And I'll never forget this. And, his whole deal, this senior, his whole deal was his word was his bond. And if he said it, you could bank on it. That was his mantra, So, anyway, he said to me, he said, listen, I just want you to know. He said, we're both Irish, McMahon, McCord. So you got that Irish thing going,
Right.
And I wasn't causing any problems. I was just doing my job and working as hard as I could. He said, I just want to let you know you'll have a job here the rest of your life if you want it.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly what he said. He did put me with Lou. My money shot up. It's all relative, but still it was 1973, but my money shot up pretty darn good where I could, save some money, And after about 11 months or so, I decided, this isn't for me.